Happy Saturday morning, everyone. So today's video is going to be about story time plus the truth behind self-improvement, right? So let's get to it after a sip of coffee. It's from Winchell's. See? I like Winchell's coffee. Another sip. It's pretty good. Okay, anyways. The story time and the self-improvement stuff are going to intertwine, just like, my lesson and then the first story time, kind of like that. So this was around the time the my second Japan trip ended, right? So the trip it didn't go well. It was horrible, actually. And then at the time I was like very, very sick, right? And then I was still like devastated about oh my goodness, the masters, I had to give that up, this and that, blah blah blah, work a job. That wasn't related to my field, right? And then after that, I I was sick with something. I don't know what I think it was pneumonia or bronchitis, one of those two. But like the thing is, it lasted like around 4 months before the trip and after the trip, right? So it was right. And then around this time, I started getting into gold and silver. This was in August, yeah, August the same month, right? And then I said, okay, let's invest some money. Let's see where that goes. And I started buying gold when it was at $3,000, and then silver when it was at $50, right? And I bought it at that time. And then around actually the same day when I bought it, I found out that my uncle from Mexico, he passed away. He was the doctor, right? Um and even though I got to see him a few times, it still meant a lot because he did a lot for our family, right? I mean, I wasn't related to him. He was, obviously through law, and because my aunt, she's related to us. Yeah, he did so much for our family and for my grandparents when they were alive. And they needed a lot of help and support in their old age. And that really affected me because it's like, wow, um it's like when I even though I only met my grandpa like twice, it's like hearing about him, the stories about that, you still get that emotional connection, right? It was the same thing with my uncle. And then after he passed, um I remember, you know after that I was out of a job again because there wasn't really work. And then with Trump's tariffs, this and that, blah blah blah, it was just a whole mess. And even now, um it's kind of like whatever. um and then actually, let's talk about a little bit more about the Japan trip, right? And a little bit before that. So a little bit before that, I was like super lost, right? I said, okay, let's go to this Japan trip. Let's have fun, right? But then after this Japan trip, what then? My main mission is over. My main mission, my main focus was the Japan trip. And after that, what's my main mission? I don't know, I guess life is not over, but I guess it's the after credits, right? After credits, or like out of or like in GTA, when you play GTA, you completed all the main missions and then you're just free roaming after that. That's kind of how like I felt, right? And then around this time, I started drinking. I started smoking. I was drinking and smoking a lot, right, per month. Because usually I told myself at the beginning, oh, I'm gonna do it once a month. Drinking and then smoking maybe once in a while, right? That's what I was thinking, right? And then from the start of last year, yeah, the start of last year, that started quickly becoming more and more of an issue, right? I saw it becoming an issue, but it was something that I didn't really care about. I stopped caring about that. And then the Japan trip comes. Knowing damn well I was sick, right? I still thought it was a good idea to take, while I was taking medication, drink and take medication, taking medication. That was such a horrible idea because it got worse. Um, and then after the Japan trip, I kind of found myself drinking and smoking less. I said, man, I really don't want to deal with these hangovers. They hit worse than than it did before. Drinking doesn't feel the same. I just drink just because it already became a habit, right? Just how like you do things because they turn into a habit or routine, right? For me, it was my monthly routine to do that. And then yeah, and then this was around the same time I started doing more research on silver, and I said, you know what? I don't have a main mission, but I'm gonna keep working at. I'm gonna keep working, at least at my weekend job, because hey, I need some money so I could buy some silver because I know this thing is gonna kick off, and when it does, I want to have as much as I can to help my family out. And that was something I forgot. That was one of my main it is my main one of my main priorities. Help out the family. And then and there, even though I had doubts, I said, maybe silver is gonna go back to $20 or something, or 50. But then a part of me said, no, you keep going, you keep at it, you already started, don't you dare stop. So I kept going at it. And then December happens. Silver's over $100, right? And then there's a part of me that just went like, it just snapped, and like, oh my God, I was right. I was right. For the first time in my life, I said, I was right. And I had that confidence. I had something inside me told me that, hey, you have to believe in yourself more. You have to give yourself a little bit more love, a little bit of appreciation of your intelligence. And it was around the same time, December, January, where like I gave up drinking, I gave up smoking, not because like I got sick of it or whatever. It's just because I guess I lost interest. It was just a natural thing. I just kind of naturally lost interest in it. It's not like I forced myself out of it. It was something that just came naturally to me. And then this was the same time where like I was like getting very comfortable. I don't want to do anything else, slouching on the couch and my bed all day, rotting there all day, right? And then I told myself, is this what I'm gonna do for the rest of my life? Just rot all day? That's no life for a person. I should be doing something outside. I should be making myself proud. I made myself proud with my own predictions. I know I could do more. And that started when I looked at myself in the mirror, and I started seeing more. Started seeing, this man is intelligent. This man, even though he may not always know what's up, he'll find a way. This man will find a way. And I did found a way, and I'm still finding that way. Um, these past few years have been a very emotional roller coaster, especially these not these past but the last 6 months of last year, especially, I would say. Even though it wasn't nothing too dramatic, it was just, it went from here to like that. Well, not suddenly, but I guess it went gradually. It wasn't anything explosive. It wasn't anything climactic. It just kind of happened gradually, and all of the pain, all of that stuff just kind of led to that point. And then when I proved myself right about the whole silver thing, I started saying, "Hey, remember all that stuff you did in the past? Remember when you doubted yourself that you wouldn't be a police cadet?" Because I was in a police cadet program, and guess what? I did it. And then I told myself, "Hey, remember when you said that you weren't able to go to college because you thought no one would accept you? I went to college. Remember when you said that maybe you might not graduate from college? I did. You may not complete the ABA program? Guess what? I did." And then I started coming up with all these examples in my head. And another example was like, remember when you said you wouldn't lose all that weight? You were almost 300 pounds and then you're at 220. Guess what? I did it. I did that. Remember when you said you want to do fencing, but you're like, nah, it's too hard? I did fencing. Same thing with kickboxing. And then I just started naming more and more examples. I started giving myself proof that I could do it. And then that's where my self-improvement journey came from. It came from a place of love. It came from a place of, I don't want to be this version of me anymore. I know I could do more with my life. I know if I start believing in myself. I know if I gave myself that attention that I deserve, if I started loving myself the way I love others, if I gave myself that attention, the same attention that I gave to others that left anyways, I know I could be in a better place. And in the past, when I started doing this self-improvement stuff, it came from a place of hate. It came from a place of jealousy. It said, man, you know what? F all these people, I'm gonna prove them wrong. I'm gonna make it big, and then they're gonna be jealous. They're gonna be like, oh man, I wish I wouldn't have made fun of them. I wish blah blah blah. Right? It came from a place of hate, and then the other time came from a place of jealousy, or at least the beginning of college. Right? Be like, oh, all these people think they're smarter than me. Man, they think they could. I forgot whatever the case was, but I know it had something to do with intelligence, right? And guess what happened with both of those cases? It was kind of like a cycle. You get into those negative emotions. You start thinking negatively towards yourself and then others, and then you go on a roll of self-improvement for a couple of weeks, and then something happens. You're like, hey, where is that drive? Like, oh, I mean, it's gone. Oh, well, maybe if I give myself those reminders, maybe if I tell myself, or I guess hang myself around that energy a little bit more, maybe I'll get that energy, or that drive again. But it never works. It never works. If your motives are entirely selfish in a negative way, then it's not gonna work. It's not gonna work. It's that self-improvement stuff's not gonna work. And a lot of the reasons why a lot of people say the self-improvement stuff doesn't work is because it comes from a place of negativity. You can't say, oh, I'm a self-improve, but I'm gonna prove all those people wrong. Those people doubted me, and then I'm gonna be better than them. It can't come from a place of hate. because then your heart is gonna be full of, hey, you're gonna be no better than they are. You are not gonna be any better than they are. And that's something I had to learn through experience from my past. And this time I said, hey man, I the only person I disappointed was myself. I told myself I need to do this for me. And then one thing that another thing, actually, another reason other than I need to do this for me, I said, what if in 10, 20 years your parents get older and then, well, there's no wood here, but it's the best I could do. And then your parents pass away. What then? What are you gonna do on your own? And then that thought scared me. That thought scared me. And then my parents, they're trying their best to take care of their health, but sometimes they're not really about that. And then I told myself, hey, no, man, I need to start getting my life back together. I need to, because I want to. I want to see myself better. This time I'm not even doing it because of other people, like, oh, I hate this person or that person. This time I genuinely am doing it because I want to see myself in a better place. I can't be rotting in bed or in the couch all day or whatever, right? I need to tell myself that I can't do it. And, here I am, I'm doing it. I need to tell myself that whatever it is, I may not know what it is now, but whatever it is, I'll get there. I know that if I just start moving, my life will get somewhere, and then eventually I'll be able to help out my family. And right now, what's happening? I'm inspiring my family to do better for themselves, and then I'm inspiring other people to do better for themselves too. There's this guy, he works at 7-Eleven. He's trying to get his life back together too. I'm like, hey bro, if you need someone to like inspire you or whatever, I'm over here, man. I'm here for you. Like, oh man, you motivated me, I'm gonna do this and that. Be like, bro, I'm glad to see your life getting back together. I'm like, bro, you need to get your life back together too. And I'm right here to support you. I'm right here to support you. Don't let anyone tell you you can't, especially yourself. I told him that. It's you versus you, no one else. And then the guy was all happy. So yeah, self-improvement, it has to come from a place of love. It has to come from a place of love and a place of forgiveness. Forgiveness towards yourself, towards your past, towards whatever you have done that hurted you, or I guess maybe hurted others. You have to forgive yourself and let go of the past. And remind yourself that you are here and now. And whatever you do now matters the most than whatever you're going to do tomorrow in a couple of hours, or what you did in the past. What you do now matters the most. And if you focus on yourself, if you love yourself, if you give yourself positive thoughts, positive thinking, if you try making moves for yourself, even if you fail, at least you'll know it's for you. At least you know, hey, I did it out of a place of love. I want to see myself grow. And for my case, I like I told you guys, one of my first major steps is going to the EMT program this fall. And thankfully, I'm already registered in that class because, they fill up fast. And thankfully, I'm in that class now, right? The only thing I have to do is a few requirements and then pay my fee for those classes, whatever, right? That's the only thing I have left to do. And I'm going to do it because I know I can. That's my first major step. And you're not supposed to think too far ahead. Whatever comes next, it'll come as an opportunity to be like, hey, after this EMT stuff, maybe you could do this, or maybe you could do this. But for sure, at least you have a clear starting point towards whatever else you want to do with your life. Because my point is gaining skills at this current moment, right? And yeah, whatever happens. The only thing you can't control is the way you think. If you think positively, if you start treating yourself right, if you start loving yourself right, things will change for the better. In here. Maybe not necessarily outside of you, but here. That's where everything starts, here. If you start loving yourself, you'll manifest that love towards those around you. And then eventually you'll start to manifest whatever realities that you have in your mind, whatever vision, whatever dreams that you have in your mind. You'll be able to manifest that into your reality. All it takes is self-love, self-belief, and self-trust. Yeah, especially trust. Because if you don't trust yourself, then that self-belief is going to run short, and then the manifestation, if it happens, it's not going to happen exactly the way you want it, or maybe the opposite. Sorry, I thought a car was backing towards here. But yeah, that was the video. All right. Good day.